This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. We finally made it. We made it to the end of My Hero Academia, and ladies and gentlemen, boy has it been a ride. As we know, Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 271 just dropped, signaling finally the end of JJK. And today we're going to be discussing Jujutsu Kaisen's Last Dance. It was a fun ride. I'm sure a lot of you guys have your own opinions. We're going to get to that in a sec, but as always, since there's a lot to cover, let's start with a chapter recap. So the last chapter ended with the main trio realizing that there's a cursed user on the loose, and this one starts with the main trio figuring out a way to lure this cursed user out. There's a lot of dynamics showcased here, as we could see Nobara and Yuji are just making silly faces to one another, and somehow, Megumi is still the smartest of the three, even after getting hit by a 3 octillion terabyte fucking zip bomb like 7 times. But okay, Megumi, perhaps I was not respectful of your game. While yes, Yuji and Nobara revert to being the biggest morons on the fucking planet Earth, I will give credit where credit is due because they, meaning Megumi really, manages to think of a plan himself, so at least Jujutsu Society is safe in some way. They don't need the adults to do everything for them. And the plan is as follows. They're gonna lure out the stalker slash curse user by using this 40-story tall building. And the plan works, and somehow they find an Inumaki x Kakashi clone cosplayer. Who the hell are you indeed? And due to copyright law, they begin chasing the curse user who's been stalking the woman for days on end now, and Nobara and Yuji look at each other funny. What a little fun thing. Anyway, while they're chasing, Nobara uses all her strength. Yuji manages to hold back from fucking 9 times black flashing, super dismantling, literally atomizing this culprit, while Megumi captures the culprit with his Maharaga dog. While we do get to see their full powers from the beginning of the series on full display, the new agenda is that this man has fucking infinite durability, and we still haven't seen Tiger Funeral. Megumi, I'm disappointed. And so they catch the culprit. They realize that he is pressed because he's an incel, which makes sense from an Inumaki perspective, but Kakashi, he's like the biggest fucking zaddy out there. He would never be an incel. And then Yuji makes the very based realization that starting an OnlyFans might be a good idea. And now that they've captured the current biggest threat to Jujutsu Society, Yuji remembers a conversation he had with Gojo, where Gojo tells him, "We've had enough, Gojo Satoru," which is, by the way, the most gay-coded thing that he's ever fucking written in JJK. Gojo then goes on to explain to Yuji that there doesn't need to be another Satoru Gojo. I mean, honestly, look what happened to Yuta when he wanted to become the monster. And he goes on to tell Yuji, "I have my utmost faith in you, you are my specials." And then Yuji has this brilliant thought, remembering Gojo and everything that he stood for. So he turns to the criminal and he says, "You are also my specials. Please join the team." Throwback to fucking Junpei, Yuji. Like, remember how this ended? Did we really need this? Anyway, this is all wrapped up very quickly because the next scene is the trio talking about Sukuna's last finger, and Yuji saying, "It's a talisman now. I put it somewhere safe. It's gonna keep curses away." And because they mentioned Sukuna, and he's also Gege's love child, Sukuna has one more appearance in JJK, and he's talking to Mahito, which was honestly a welcome surprise. Mahito then goes on to berate Sukuna. He tries to put him down. He says, "You know what? You actually wanted revenge. Your lifestyle of just, I'm a curse, I'm a wretched being, I can do whatever I want, that was fake. You're just a salty boy." And Sukuna turns around like the villain he is, and he accepts defeat. He says, "You know what? You know what, Mahito? Maybe you're right." I'm going to try to mimic the reaction I had when I first read this part of the chapter. It went something like this. But hey, we're going to talk about that in a sec. And then in this soul layer mind palace, we see 2 girls with Sukuna. Who the fuck are they? One of them looks like Uraume, the other one looks like Yorozu. I see theories online that maybe it's Angel, but we get no explanation here, so we're kind of just left saying, okay, when Sukuna is reborn in the north, he's gonna go with that one, the girl on the right. I don't know, maybe they're boys. I really don't fucking know. We get no explanation on this, just fucking take it. Shove it down your throat and shut the fuck up. But as I alluded to, Sukuna accepts that he is not in fact a curse and goes north after finally being defeated and maybe potentially learning about love. And that, my JJK non-readers, is the end of Sukuna. And then we get some various shots of Jujutsu High students, but don't worry, I removed all the faces of the people who actually contributed nothing in the Shinjuku arc. I left half of Yuta because I feel like he deserves it. And then we see a shrine harboring one last middle finger. Gege, thank you. And that's that. The story ends the same way it started, with Sukuna's finger in a shrine, probably next to a high school, keeping curses away. Let's talk about the implications of the chapter. Starting with Yuji, I like that Yuji does not go down the same path as Gojo, just like I said. I like that Yuta becomes the monster. I like, in fact, that he fails becoming Gojo, because Gojo is more than being the strongest. But in terms of Yuji, I think the chapter just wasn't Yuji focused enough. But then again, the main characters are really Sukuna and Gojo at the end of the day. I wish we had more Yuji thoughts about the events that just transpired these past 6 months, or maybe talk about his grandpa, the guy who really started the series, the guy who sent him on his path. But no, we just get some character dynamic and interactions. But I mean, I don't know, what did you expect? He was overall fine. Unfortunately, there's no character arc that I can point to in regards to Yuji, but it's not as bad as Megumi, who got basically no character development start to finish, and Nobara, whom I don't even know what to say about. She's just been written out of the story. And I've already said, while I like the interactions, this did not feel like an ending. This felt like a chapter in between two large arcs. You know, they're going on simple missions and then something else is gonna happen. Like, where is the conclusion dialogue? Where is any thought ever? Where are the things that the audience wants to see? It's just kind of a weird feeling to have no arc from the main character start to finish, really. I mean, like, he did have changes, but the conclusion chapter did not give me that sense. And then don't even get me started on Gojo, because his ending was pretty weak considering he's the most popular character. That being said, I think he actually might say something like, I think it's over for the Gojo. I want you to be even better than me. And take it from me, I'm literally him. I feel like people have been complaining about this. Just because you're cocky doesn't mean you can't believe in other people. I mean, again, take it from me. Ultimately, had he come back, it definitely would have been a strange writing decision. I know many people wanted to see that, but in regards to then Sukuna, he is literally Junpei for real, for real. This is Makito and Junpei looking at a picture of Junpei in the future. Like, come on, Suki. The man was ostracized and scrutinized as a kid. I mean, people were putting fucking cigarette butts on Sukuna's forehead, and he became evil because of that. And honestly, when I first read it, I did not like Sukuna's acceptance, but I slept on it a couple of days, and honestly, it's fine. It's a shonen at the end of the day. It's fine that Sukuna was taught love at the end of the day. While I did want him to be more vehemently attached to his ideologies, it makes sense for him not to be. Like, he really did lose. He was undefeated because of his ideology, and now that he lost, he has nothing. The Sukuna Makito part was the most interesting part of the chapter in my opinion. It was a saving grace really, because if it was the main trio just doing some random mission, that would be fucking dog water. And then Sukuna walks away from Makito. I think that's also very interesting because that's Sukuna walking away from a curse. He's no longer a curse. Makito is everything that is wrong with humans, and he does get the last word of the manga, fittingly. I really like that, to be honest. So overall, for a Sukuna conclusion, not my favorite, but after like the last 5-7 chapters, honestly, what did we expect? And then there's Yuta x Maki, okay, whatever. Inumaki's fucking not having it. Maki's looking away. Maybe there is no Yuta x Maki, to be honest. Like, I mean, come on. I mean, she just looks pissed at him. It's like she saw what happened in Gojo's body and then she got the immediate ick and will never look at Yuta again. And yes, there is absolutely plot hole galore, but all I can say to that is, Kenjaku phase. We just didn't have time. What I will say about this is that at the end of the day, Gege wanted to write a story about Sukuna, and Sukuna he did write. And there's a lot of plot holes that are unrelated to Sukuna, but then why did you add them? If it is just a story about Ryomen Sukuna, then it's okay. But even that, we didn't get like character backstories. I mean, it's okay. What did we expect? And then in the most typical shonen fashion ever, something that I think is particularly funny, Sukuna ends by being the benevolent shrine. Like this finger, they're gonna destroy a one-finger Sukuna if anyone ever ingests it, which no one ever really will. But it's a talisman to ward curses away, so it literally is benevolent shrine. Unlike Yuji's domain name, which we don't know. And in regard to Gojo, I know a lot of people wanted to see him back. But guys, it's okay. Don't give up hope, because the Chainsaw Devil will spit him out. He is in fact the One Piece, perhaps. In fact, he might even be the last of the Enchanted Blades, and if nothing else, he'll become the next Hokage. If none of this pans out, at least you can see him on YouTube, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And seeing him in real life, in real time, is probably as interesting, if not more interesting, than seeing him in the manga, because he's just as cocky and much more disappointing. So in conclusion, what can we say about the last chapter of JJK? What were we expecting, really? I know a lot of people really had their knickers in a twist. I think a lot of this is because of reading the leaks, which were not fully out by the time a lot of people read them. But those last 5 chapters, yeah, they weren't great. It did not feel like an ending chapter to me. As a standalone chapter, I honestly don't think it was that bad. It just wasn't a conclusion. And that's all I have to say. And yes, I'm disappointed. I was like a lot of people because I really hated it to start for many of the reasons that I outlined. But after a few days, it's okay. It's still Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm gonna reread the series, and I'll be back maybe in a week or 2 after reading the series, kind of looking at it in retrospect, so be there for that video. And there's a comparison that's been drawn over the past couple of days. Is it shades of AOT ending? I think that they're similarly bad in different ways. AOT really fumbled, and I think thematically fucking struggled. JJK's ending was more of a dud. But what I will say is that it truly was our Jujutsu Kaisen. Interacting with the community was so much fun. Reading week to week, theorizing, talking about it, an incredibly enjoyable experience. And like AOT, JJK managed to bring a lot of non-anime people in, which is great. It's AOT, Naruto, JJK, those anime are what we need. It was a stellar ride. While it was a shonen in many, if not all, senses of the word, there's a reason that we developed such a fondness, that we liked the characters so much, and that we kept coming back, and that all means something. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Come for the JJK and stay for the other tomfoolery on the channel. Make sure to join the Discord as well, the link is in the description before. Let me know what you thought about the last chapter. I was about to say, let me know what you think is gonna happen next, but that is never gonna be said again. Let me know what you thought. Again, I'm gonna make a video about looking at JJK in retrospect. I hope you were there for that. Leave any suggestions for future videos down below. You are looking incredible. I know, we can cry together. We'll do it because we love each other. Goodbye.